it kills me when I hear people say, hey, you know, I spent $5,000 to get all the right equipment, camera, lighting. Now I'm going to start making YouTube videos. And I'm like, you haven't made a single video and you put $5,000 into your channel and you have no idea what you're doing.
Oh, it's funny. I started on my iPhone. I think that was the camera I used was mind you, iPhone cameras not too bad, but
nowadays they're awesome.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, I kind of agree with that approach of you see what sticks first and then you build up and realize once you know the opportunity where you kind of put your money.
100%.
But one of the reasons I really wanted to have you on is first, you were actually one of the first kind of personal finance channels. When I started uploading, I hadn't really known the personal finance space, and you're one of the first channels I came across. So always your channel was kind of top of mind when I was thinking of people to talk to. But
thank you. I appreciate that. It means a lot.
Oh, of course. And on top of that, I think your story, especially compared to mine and probably a lot of people's, is very different. And I kind of want to talk to a diverse range of people in terms of their experiences. You know, I come from the total opposite approach, a very traditional, you know, go to school, get that education, work really hard, interview, get a 9-to-5 job that pays well, and work your way up that ladder. I come from that very traditional standpoint, and I like to talk to people who have done otherwise. You're someone who actually, you mentioned you went to college, and you went to law school, actually, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So obviously, you know, it sounds like you took this education, then you went a totally different direction. How do you kind of tell people, and you know, whether they say they're interested in starting a business, where's that divide between having a safety net of education and just going out and trying something and taking a riskier approach?
So education was very important in my household. The
Right.
reason is because my parents came to this country with nothing. My dad came to this country with less than $100, didn't know the culture, didn't know the people, didn't know anyone, had to hustle. And he never took days off. He used to have a joke when I was a kid that there was no such thing as a sick day, because if you take a sick day, you're not working. If you're not working, you're not getting paid. If you're not getting paid, you don't have money to eat.
Right.
So it was a concept of you work 6 or 7 days a week, every single day, and you work long hours. I mean, early morning to early night or late night. And so when you come from that type of hustle where you either hustle or you don't eat,
Right.
He wanted success for me, and the way that success looks, right? And if you check the boxes, it's through schooling. You go to school, you get a good degree. When you get a good degree, you get a good job. Now, that's how I was raised, and anything that was outside of that traditional norm was considered not just weird but bad. The whole concept of entrepreneurship was not just like not encouraged, but it was not allowed.
Right.
Because when my parents found out that I was doing like entrepreneurial stuff, they were very, very angry. I had to keep every entrepreneurial venture that I did a secret. And
No kidding.
the only time they started to be okay with it was like when I started getting on the news. They saw my company. This was, I think this is my sock company. This is the first time they started to be okay with it.
Right.
Was my parents got a call from one of their friends saying, oh, I just saw your son on the news. And they were like, oh, shoot, what did he do now? They're like, no, he's seeing a lot of success with this company. And they were like, what? And so before that, they hated the idea of entrepreneurship. It didn't make sense to them. But once they started to see the success, then it was okay. And so every entrepreneurial venture that I did, not only did I have to like kind of do it in addition to school, it was for me something that I had to do in secrecy. It was like there's only certain people that I could tell, because if I told the wrong person and they told my parents, I'd be in a lot of trouble. And so it was really hard emotionally, physically, because now I was in college all day long. After classes, I was working all night long. And in the morning, I was working again. And it didn't stop on weekends, because Friday night we'd host a party. We'd have
Right.
contracts with some of the biggest clubs to do college nights. So every I forget, Thursday or Fridays, we'd have a party. But you know, when we had a party on Friday night, I wouldn't get done until 2 a.m. and then we'd be cleaning up and doing all that stuff until 3:30 a.m. Get
Right.
home at 4. And Saturdays are weddings, and Indian weddings last all day long. So I went to bed at 4 a.m. and I got to be at a wedding by 8 a.m. And this was now I'm working at a wedding all day long. And then Sunday, you start it all back up again. And so it was hard work. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, it is not something that is taught, because the whole idea of entrepreneurship is it's being creative. It's thinking differently. And it's having that risk appetite of going out and doing it. Because I never understood what risk meant until really like now. What does risk mean? Risk is, hey, I could start a business and fail. Before, who cares? Who cares if I failed? Like, what do I got to lose? The way I look at it is my family came to this country with nothing. So I got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And so some people, if you're not willing to take risks, you're not going to see the rewards.
Right.
And entrepreneurship is hard. I mean, it's a lot of work. I work a lot of hours. I work a lot of days. But you know what? I've reached a point where I can also choose when and where I want to work and how I want to work. I love what I do. Everything I do, I speak from the heart. I talk very passionately because these are things that I experience. And sure, maybe what I say is not right for you, but everything I say, I can guarantee you I'm speaking from my heart. I'm speaking passionately about what I do.
You touched on something that I kind of want to talk about, which is kind of the idea that talking about money at home is taboo. You mentioned with your family specifically. Why do you think that is? And why do you think no one ever teaches their kids about money? Like some do, but it does seem to be rare that, you have a parent sit you down and say, look, this is how the stock market works. This is how budgeting works and things like that.
It goes down to the fear of money and understanding money. A lot of us have insecurities about money. We're not happy with where we are financially. We're not happy with the way things are going financially. We're working really hard to save a little bit of money. We don't understand why we cannot get ahead. So we put up a smoke screen. Don't talk about money. It's bad. Yet at the same time, you're going to work every single day. And a lot of times it's to a job that you hate. Why?
Right.
To get a paycheck, to get paid. And everybody says, oh, I don't do what I do for money. Then tell your boss not to pay you. So it's understanding how money plays a part in your life. And this is one of the things that we have to start talking about if you want to ever become financially successful, if you want to be able to live happy. Because at the end of the day, sure, money by itself is not going to make you happy. But if you don't have money, you are not going to be happy.
I think part of it too is I feel like talking about money specifically, it sort of brings a vulnerability with it. I think a lot of people, they like to maintain this image that they're doing fine financially and they don't want anyone to ever know. It's very vulnerable. You're put out kind of in the open when you do that, and it probably makes you feel naked to some degree.
It's kind of like trying to get in shape, but it's harder to hide it because hey, I can go to the Gucci store, put on a new Gucci belt, get a new wallet, spend $2,000 on my credit card, even though I can't afford it, and now I can look rich, even though I'm not. And so we have a lot of inner insecurities, and this also goes back to that mental fitness that I talked about, because you got to be confident in yourself. You have to be able to accept who you are, where you are, and once you can do that, you are going to be much more confident when you're going to realize, hey, I can't afford all this crap that I'm buying right now. So I'm going to stop buying this crap, and I'm going to get my finances in order. And when you do that, people are going to look at you like you lost your mind. Wait, Johnny, you were driving a BMW, now you're driving a Honda Accord? Johnny, you were going to vacations every 6 months to the Bahamas. Now you're not. You were spending so much money at the mall. Now you stop shopping? Is something wrong? And what's funny is people are going to think now that you're broke because you're not spending money, but in reality is you're becoming wealthier than you ever was. Right. You have to have the confidence, that financial discipline to be able to do that. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the shorter clip from the longer videos, here's another clip that I think you'll love. And if you're interested in learning more about how to invest your money in the stock market, our team put together an amazing guide that will walk you through how to invest your money in the stock market. This guide is completely free when you sign up for our daily newsletter. So if you want to read this guide, all you got to do is click that button right over there. Thank you for watching. And as always, keep hustling.